Okay, welcome back to Business Owners Speak. Today, I am very excited to have Mark Amell with us with DMA Consulting. Mark, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Great. Good to have you on. And like I do with all of our guests, if you could start with tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Well, I created this package for internet marketing. I came up with 30 different ways to do internet marketing. And my goal is to help small businesses grow and have a retirement. 5 years ago, I met somebody that had to sell his business and he found out it wasn't worth anything. So over the last 5 years, I've taken $70,000 worth of courses, learned different marketing ways, and I'm trying to help small businesses survive and grow. So that's my goal. That's what's kind of stuck in my head is watching this guy who's a great guy, having to find out he was broke basically.
Hmm. Interesting. So what led you to that? I mean, obviously you had that kind of aha moment with him where his business isn't worth what he thought it was going to be worth. Did you have a marketing background or a digital background in the past?
I'm a artificial intelligence programmer. I brought the first artificial intelligence program to the military when I was an officer in the Air Force. I have multiple degrees in engineering and math. I've been a 40-year programmer. I wrote a 3 million line software program for small businesses, do their billing, scheduling, routing, all that. So I'm a small business, but I've been engaged with small businesses for a long time. I just wanted to, when I met this person, I had a shift. I wanted to shift to marketing and what is facing small businesses right now.
Okay, and to walk us through some of the education process you went through.
I had I take courses like a lot of people have. I've worked with gurus that around the world, and I've gone down those SEO rabbit holes, and it goes forever. But what was really interesting was in talking to a guru, they're good on one thing. I was working with a gentleman, for instance, that does Google Ads, and he's trashing SEO. I've talked to SEO people and they trash content marketing. But what I found out is that small businesses use 1 to 2 different ways to market, and millionaire small businesses use over 10. So if I introduce the small businesses to 30 areas, we can pick which 10 work for them. And it reduces their risk a lot, actually reduces their cost because of the way we implement it. So it's instead of trying to, like, SEO person spends $300,000 a month on ads. As a small business, I'm not going to compete against that. But what I can do is I can do a lot of everything and fill in those holes that Google's looking for. And be an artificial intelligence programmer, I've understood what Google's looking for and why they're doing things. So instead of trying to cheat Google and go around the corner, I try to play nice and give Google what it wants the way it wants.
Hmm. And I'm curious, did you leave a previous career or were you just kind of in a place where it made sense to take the leap into business ownership?
No, I had a business for 30 years. I wrote the 3 million line software program. That's my software.
Okay.
And the residual income from that, I have a 15-year customer retention. So the residual income from that has allowed me to do other things and still pay my bills.
Sure. Is there a target for you that is a business and business owner that kind of fits your model best, or are you agnostic on that?
I'd like to have, I have workshops And I'd like to have 10 people join my workshop a month at least. And I'd like one high ticket sale for the next 2 years. And if I maintain those 10 years, in 10 years, I'm going to semi-retire. And half the money is going to an animal sanctuary because I'm going to retire in the middle of animals and be happy.
Well, let me get to that in a minute because I want to hear more about that. First, though, explain the workshops. How does that work?
There's going to be a workshop every week because I find that if you say every 2 weeks, they don't show up. So I'm having workshops twice a month. Each workshop, I'm going to drill down, tell you what software, how I do each of these 30 techniques. And the weeks that I don't drill down, I'm going to have business professionals. So I'm going to have business brokers, HR people, mindset people, so that an hour a week, they're going to learn, a few nuggets to help their business. And then I have a community area where I'm going to post the recordings. They're going to be able to talk to each of the other members and hopefully help them out. And I'll answer questions along the way. And then to start the next meeting, I'll probably take 10 of the best questions and introduce those questions so that I can get that knowledge out to the people that are there.
Okay. How do you promote those workshops, out of curiosity?
Well, I've met a lot of good people. I'm on Alignable and also LinkedIn. And I've met a lot of good people and they're telling other people. And I think it looks like it's kind of exploding. A lot of the business people that I've talked to like the idea. I had somebody last night that said she was going to help promote, the workshop to fill it. I've had multiple people tell me that. So it's really been a work of a word of mouth and promoting it through advertising, you know, email marketing, all the techniques, but it just because I continue to practice them and refine them. But I'm really trying to get them to understand I'm there to help them. If I have 100 people in the workshop, it's easier for me to get 7 high ticket item customers than do 100 people in the workshop. But I can't help the small businessman for just a little bit of money. I have to put the time in to make it really work if I'm going to do everything.
Right. Well, that kind of leads to my next question about suite of services. Are you, if I hire your company, is it you get kind of everything for one lump fee, or do you have a la carte choices for different strategies? How does that work?
I'm pretty flexible.
Okay.
The workshops are going to be 197 a month. So I'm going to transfer all my training and everything and teach you. My high ticket goes anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 a month where I do everything. But the workshop for somebody that's a small business, I can save them time for not going down those rabbit holes in Google. I can help them get a clear path and hopefully take some of that stress that they're kind of lost in what do I do next.
Sure. Is the workshops, is there a place to sign up on your website or where do you register?
There's another landing page called 30waystomarket.com.
Okay.
And they just register and then they'll get an invite. And it's going to be a Zoom, so they can be anywhere in the country.
Great. Yeah, we're seeing more and more of that kind of learning, right? Where you can be right in the middle of something and in 1 second click on your workshop and all of a sudden you're deep in learning all the ins and outs of the digital world that you seem to have spent so much time figuring out. That's interesting. And so long-term goal, you've got a 10-year plan, it sounds like, right?
I have a 10-year plan where I semi-retire and half the money is going to go to my animal conservation system. It'll be a charity. So the fees that if you're paying to me, half of them can be right off as a charity. But my long-term goal is just to retire in the middle of animals and enjoy them.
What does that mean, Mark? In the middle of animals?
I'm not sure. Right now, I have 4 dogs that go from 85 to 130 pounds. I've raised a 10-foot snake that didn't have a cage. She just lived in the house with us. And then I've also raised a lion.
What?
I had it in the house without a cage either. I got her, I rescued her. She looked like she was a little cat, and she just kept growing. Turned out she was a New England mountain lion.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I get along well with animals.
Hmm.
It's keeps me calm and happy.
Sure. That's amazing. All right. So, what's something that as a business owner, which you've been for a very long time, um, is kind of a resource you continue to use or a toolbox that you normally go reach into to continue to grow your business, or do you just kind of reach out for as much learning material as you can find? How do you continue to grow?
I work with a lot of the best people, and I evaluate them before I get involved. But what I find that helps me working out of my house, it's you have to focus, you have to have a schedule. And if you have the animals or children on the schedule, this is my work time. And I just have a notepad and I have a big whiteboard behind me. And if something pops into my head that doesn't apply to what I'm working on, I write it down and go back to it later. So it's really learning those skills of focus, I think, are important.
Yeah, a discipline of schedule,
Just,
right?
yeah.
Hard to do
It,
these days with all the distractions.
it's very difficult to do, but once you get the hang of it, or get the discipline to do it, you're going to find out you've accomplished a whole lot more during the day than you would have otherwise from just kind of going around loose. And
True. We often tell our clients it's the difference between being busy and being productive, right?
right.
Busy is easy. You just check a bunch of boxes. Productive, moving your business forward, that's a different animal, and that takes discipline, like you're mentioning.
And I tell them that you should do everything with that end goal in mind. I have a goal of what I want to get, and I've been since I came up with this workshop program, I've been wanting to fill the workshop and help as many small businesses as I can. And I think about during the day what am I going to work on and how is that going to help me reach my goal. It sounds kind of silly, but it really does help.
Yeah. I don't think that sounds silly at all. I think people probably think it does, but it does, but it's not. It certainly works. So on that same line, Mark, how about some advice for someone who's either just getting started in owning their business, or maybe they're working a job and they've got an idea and they're thinking about making the leap? Do you have some advice you'd give?
There's that old saying about spending some time to work on your business and not always in it. I think when you start a business, you do it because you've got a skill that's sellable. And then you realize that there's all these other business things that are coming in at you that you're not prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to take some time every week and block it off and say, okay, I want to need to look at my business. How am I going to make it better? You can't just blindly go and find out 5 years later that you're missing a whole piece. So, I like the story of Henry Ford, where his board of directors took him to court and said that he should be replaced because he doesn't know what's going on. And he goes, after a series of questions, he goes, look, Judge, I've got this board on my desk with all these switches. And if I want to answer one of those questions, I just flip the switch to the person that can answer it. And the case got thrown out. So
Makes a lot of sense.
it's having your team around you, and that's what I'm hoping to bring to these small businesses to make their life easier. But don't think that you can do everything. You're just going to stress yourself out.
Absolutely. And so in that along that same line for your workshops, you're pulling in kind of experts in other areas, right? To help teach and help other people grow.
Right, every other week, because every other week I'm going to go into my 30 areas and really teach one of them. But I want to bring in experts. And as we get the group working together and all, some of the members of the group, may have something that are worthwhile to share with the group. So I really want it to be a helping. And there's, I've done mindset training, but there's people that are obviously do it for a living. So I want to bring them in and teach them mindset. If I've got a question that I think belongs to them, I'll send it out to get their answers. So I just want to I want to teach, but I also want to coordinate all this so that a small business has all the resources in one place that it needs.
I think that's a genius idea, Mark, because there's so many small business owners just searching and searching for the answers that, and in the digital world, it can lead you anywhere, right? Because everybody says there's an expert. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, Mark. I think you're really onto something. We'll be sure we put 30waystomarket.com on the screen so our viewers can take a look and give some thought to registering for what seems like very valuable workshops.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you doing this for me.
No, it's my pleasure. Mark Amell with DMA Consulting. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck with you and your business.